Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. It is story time and in my hands is unfortunately not my knife. This is Samson's CRKT Bamboo CEO. Sometime back in March when we were hanging out, Samson was showing me his then collection of the CRKT CEOs and I told him, hey bro, if you ever get the bamboo version, it would be an honor for me if I could give it a Rit Dye job. And so that leads to this story. It is the story of making Samson's CRKT Bamboo CEO look less yellow and more like real bamboo. Because let's be honest here, the CRKT Bamboo CEO is just like neon yellow. So in order to do that, apart from getting the Rit Dye color of choice, I needed to procure two main things. So I headed out first to a local pharmacy and I was looking for an emery board. I mean, you could call this a fingernail buffer, but I heard people calling this an emery board, so I'm just calling it an emery board. The next thing that I was looking for is a cylindrical metal container, and to be specific, I was looking out for a particular brand of wafer snacks called the Redondo wafer sticks. And so I headed off to the supermarket. This is Fair Price, and unfortunately it seemed like Fair Price just didn't have any in stock. And so I was like, you know what, maybe let's just check out another supermarket. So I headed on to the next one, which is called Sheng Siong, and to my dismay, they too did not have Redondo sticks in stock. And this is one of those really irritating times in life when there was something that you don't need and you see it everywhere all the time, and when you finally want to get it, you just can't find it anywhere. That's this bloody Redondo wafer sticks. So I was honestly tempted to just buy a tin can of Milo, but I don't drink Milo and I'm thinking, yeah, it's gonna be such a hassle to kind of remove all the Milo powder and store it somewhere else, clean up the can, yada yada yada. So I decided, let's just check out Cheers on my way to work, and Cheers came in clutch. They had Redondo sticks on sale, so I bought one can, went to the office, opened it up, took out the wafer sticks that was separately packed in a bag inside the can. So I don't know why it's double packed, but I guess it's working in my favor for this particular situation. So now that I've got the stuff that I don't actually have on hand, the next thing to do is to disassemble the knife. Now I gotta say here guys, this is a story time video. It is not a review video, it is not a tutorial video, so yeah, please don't expect any of that. But I have to say that the CRKT CEO is a really impressive knife, really good value for money, good bang for your buck. The action on this thing is just snappy. Like honestly, it has no business being this snappy, but it is really snappy. So once everything is disassembled, you want just the scales. So yeah, the next thing to do is actually clean the scales up. You want to make sure that it's really clean, no oils, no residue from whatever, because we are going to Rit Dye this thing. So I'm just cleaning the scales now using an old toothbrush and some glass cleaner. Once I was done cleaning up the scales, I left it aside to dry off and I started the stove. So yeah, this is me just setting everything up. I put water into the can and started to bring it to a boil. Now the Rit Dye color that I'm using here is the Rit Dye More series Peacock Green. So I emptied about a quarter of the bottle in because I wanted to be able to control the shade of green. And I actually put the scales onto a piece of wire and I'm hoisting everything up using a large pair of pliers. And because I didn't want a shade of green that was too flat, because in my opinion, like when you look at bamboo, it's not a perfectly flat, even shade of green, I decided to kind of give it a gradient from both sides. So I'm trying to do a gradient one way in and then flip it over and do a gradient the other way. So I'm getting some kind of a greenish yellowish color, which looks a little bit more natural than a completely flat green. And in case you guys are looking for a tutorial on how to Rit Dye scales, or rather how I Rit Dye my scales, I'll put a link in the description box to a video that I've made in the past. Now that the scales have been dipped both sides, I decided to give it that bamboo look. So the next step is to break out the emery board and start sanding the color off at certain points. Now I don't actually have a reference picture that I'm looking at, but going purely from memory, generally bamboo shoots, bamboo stems are like kind of worn at the joints area, and so the joints here on this particular scales are the raised areas. So I'm kind of just attacking that area with the emery board, slowly kind of sanding off bit by bit on the raised areas, trying to reveal some of the yellow underneath. Unfortunately, emery boards don't do well with water, and I was trying to wet sand the thing, and so I screwed up the emery boards. So yeah, the best alternative I could think of now is to just bust out some sandpaper. So I grabbed some 800 grit, 1000 grit and 1200 grit sandpaper, and I just basically used that, wet sanded off the raised areas. And so yeah, all in all guys, you don't actually need an emery board to do this thing. I'm sorry, but yeah, I got it done with the sandpaper instead. Now when I was done, this is considered the first pass, and that's because after looking at it, I felt that it was still a bit too yellow, so I basically repeated the entire process all over again, just so that I could get the greens a little bit darker and then sand it off to reveal a bit more yellow underneath. And I'm not gonna waste your time showing you the entire process all over again because you already understand what to do. You just gotta do it twice, or basically I did it twice. If you're thinking of performing the same Rit Dye job, then maybe you could consider just Rit Dyeing it to a darker shade of green the first pass and save your time. I don't know. But yeah, once you got the scales done and you're satisfied with it, just make sure that you give it a quick wash and then reassemble the knife. And now I would like to present to you the final result. Now, I honestly think that it turned out really well. It could be a personal bias, I guess, but I'm really satisfied with the way it turned out. I'm actually surprised that it looks so much like real bamboo. And the last thing to do, of course, is to present this back to Samson. And I'd like to call this the true bamboo CRKT CEO. It is time for the moment of truth when I will present this to Samson. Samson.
Yes. Some goodies.
Oh, we got goodies here? What? What is this? New anyhow try?
From Ireland. From Roland Metalworks.
Wow.
Because we had a group order, so he gave us some special Irish snacks.
I promised you, so.
Wow.
Does it look like bamboo to you?
Bamboo scales!
Very, you scrap it.
Yeah.
This one must go show my parents.
Nice. Okay, I guess I'm successful. Yay. I'll do the outro here and stand here with the teddy bear. But yeah, that is it everyone. Thank you so much for sticking all the way throughout and sharing in this slice of my life. If you enjoyed the video, I hope that you guys will consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, or if you are new, I hope I earned your sub today. If I did not, then it's okay. I promise I'll still continue to work on the quality of my content, and hopefully one day I will earn that sub. Once again, this video is really about the story of how I made Samson's CRKT CEO bamboo. A little bit less like the original and more like bamboo. And that is it. Also, another great way to support the channel is over on Patreon. There will be a link up in the corner as well as in the description box below. There will be patron exclusive content as well as patron exclusive giveaways from time to time. So if you do become a patron of The Average Singaporean, thank you so much in advance. Okay, I will catch all of you in the next slice. Bye.